All right, here we go. Betting Weekly Live. Here with you on a Wednesday. Mike Carver and Doug Kezirian as we get you ready for all of tonight's action. 14 games in the NBA as a lot of these teams are looking at the All-Star break. It's almost Cancun time for most of them. We have got college hoops tonight, plenty of games there, and little Olympic hockey as USA and Canada are both going to get started tomorrow. I'm actually watching Sweden and Italy right now as Sweden's playing their first game. They're up 2-1 after the first period. I think they outshot Italy 29-2 in the early going. So it's going really well for the Italians, who have no NHL players on their team. One of the few teams in this Olympic competition that has that. We got some golf later as well. Very busy. Doug, good to see you as always. And the train keeps a rolling all night long. I think I'm even losing track now. I believe it's 6 out of 7 for the Daily Double. Our second 3 in a row since the start of last week. The Hurricanes getting home outright against North Carolina, and Kawhi over the 6.5 boards. A plus 283 hit for us last night.
I think it was a really good handicap on my end. Just it was stressful because he had no rebounds in the first quarter, but ended up with 8. So there's a couple ways to slice it. I just think it was the right angle. He was on a minutes count, so that's giving me a little pause for today, which we'll get into. But either way, great stuff. Obviously, Miami got a little hairy at times. My first half, Miami play got hairy as well. They were up double digits, and then Carolina came back. They're clearly the better team, but the spot screamed it. And, it's nice when they work out that way. I tried to make it easier for the house by taking a plus 103 side, but maybe we'll have to go a little higher just to, level the playing field, because plus 283 is always nice as well.
It's very nice, and 6 out of 7 with the Daily Double here for us since the start of last week. We're on fire right now, and we're going to try to keep things rolling tonight as we get going. And it's a big night in the NBA, Doug, as I was mentioning at the top. 14 games, pretty much for almost everybody. This is it until next week. We do have 3 games tomorrow night, so there are a few teams that this is the front night of a back-to-back. But a lot of teams are going to be looking to those vacations, and maybe that's something for a big slate like tonight that we might have to try in a few spots.
And I think it's worth mentioning, I did not mention it when we discussed it the other day, like the issues that were with the NBA is when it was the old All-Star break. So when it was when they were pressed for time, if you will, it was like an extra long weekend. Now it's a full week and change. So maybe the players don't have that senioritis. We shall see. But it's still something to keep in mind. Like, for example, I thought the Knicks last night was not all-star stuff. It was not senioritis. It was Philly on deck today playing a bad team, because it's not like during the season the NBA is the most predictable sport or anything silly like that. I think it's just one of those headaches. You got to be careful all the time. College hoops. Look, we had crazy comebacks. We had St. John's needing overtime the other night to beat Xavier. What is a 16-point favorite? So, look, this is sports. It's the greatest reality show in the world. But hopefully we can stay hot here. Let's go for no gentleman's sweep this week. Let's just go for the sweep. I'm already, trying to think big here.
Go for the 4-gamer. Go right out of the gate there. And I did see at the bottom, somebody played the Spurs wheel last night. Oh my goodness, what a no-shot! We knew the Lakers were in trouble when nobody was playing, but man, did they get smashed in that game, Doug? That was a tough scene.
It was pretty pathetic. I'm not gonna lie. Like, just like errant pass. Just one of those situations.
Yeah, that home-road dichotomy in NCAA Basketball February, always a good angle there from Jern. We will talk a little NCAA hoops in a bit, but we will start with the NBA. 14 games and the doubleheader on ESPN tonight. Those Knicks who you mentioned are in Philadelphia against the Sixers. Right now at Bet Rivers, Sixers minus 2.5, 225 flat is the total for this one.
No, I think the Sixers, I think the Knicks, just didn't come to play. And the Pacers, I think they get out. I was on a text thread with a couple Pacers fans. They were furious that the Pacers won because of all the tanking going on. But, it's one of those things where they bring it against OKC, right? The revenge angle and whatnot. I mean, they beat the Thunder recently. And then the Knicks, they bring it because of the Eastern Conference Finals and the rivalry. I just think it's one of those things, and shame on me for not kind of sniffing it out. Um, but in the terms of this, I'm going to lean to the Knicks first quarter. I think they try to kind of get back on track, just a hunch play, but it's a lean, nothing serious. I just, you know, I just think this is a tough read on this game.
I mean, you'd think after losing to the Pacers last night that they'd have a little bit of, come out with a little bit of gas here in the first quarter, right? I mean, I understand where we're looking at here for this, but it is an extremely tough night to try to figure some things out around the league. Now, the Spurs are also playing second night of a back-to-back. Of course, the big win in LA last night. Now they go to Golden State, where they will see the Warriors. Spurs minus 7.5. 221 flat the total.
I like the Spurs here. They barely broke a sweat. I think they were fairly, all business. Fourth quarter was a little crazy, but I mean, there's the scrubs galore. But this Warriors team really leaves a lot to be desired. We touched on it the other day with your best bet being the Grizz plus 9.5.
Yeah.
The Warriors are kind of hot garbage. And, I don't know if it's the Kuminga trade and whatnot, but without Steph, I think it's a dejected unit as well. I'm not sure Steve Kerr has a firm, grasp of the team here. I'd have to lay it with the Spurs. I know it's a big number. It's on the road, blah, blah, blah. I just think it's a unique situation where I'm happy to get involved and lay the 7.5.
Yeah, and the Spurs, pretty much going to have everybody out there tonight. I'm sure even on the second night of a back-to-back with a week off on deck, that they'll be able to get everybody in the mix here this evening. How about Italy here, Doug? Scores to tie the game at 2 with Sweden. Wow. And Sweden was, on the puck line, they were like minus 5.5 on the puck line today, Sweden. And a 2-2 game now, early in the second period as the Italians get one back. They're still 22-1 on the money line if you want, Doug. The Italians tied at 2, 22-1. You can still get them at. I'm not kidding. 22.
That's a big number. Let's be honest. It is random hockey. It's like
it's dropping like a rock. 19. It's going down. It's a couple people playing it. All right. So there you go. TV doubleheader.
Are you getting involved?
I'm not. I will not play Italy. They're not going to win this game. But they are at least having a little fun out there. They're pumped up after scoring. Like, they have the crowd behind them, the home nation. Let's do the rest.
Women's soccer when, some random country scores against the, it's like because some of these money line, these spreads in women's soccer, like 9.5.
Yeah. No, listen, I'll tell you, though, the puck line, they're still getting 4 pucks at minus 136, Italy. I mean, over a period, they've been hanging around with them. It's maybe not bad. We always had one upset earlier today. Slovakia beat Finland in the first game, which was a big upset. Let's do the rest of these games here tonight in the NBA. Let's go to Brooklyn first out of the non-doubleheader games, where the Pacers, off that win at the Garden, now cross the river and they're catching 6 against the Nets laying 6, 215.5 the total.
Kind of like them. Look at the Pacers lineup. They're sitting everyone. This is a giant punt. I mean, look, I don't know what the NBA is going to do getting involved with the tanking and whatnot. The Pacers, I don't know their pick protection. The Jazz have a top 8 protected. So just a reminder to everyone about sort of how it works. It's not just about striking oil, landing the home run pick at the top, right? Top couple picks. It's also it's actually more driven in a lot of ways by the absolute need to not fall out of the top 5, 8, 10, whatever it is, the pick protection. So I don't know the Nets and Pacers situation, but the Jazz are top 8. So if they don't, if they land 9, they lose their pick. And it's a deep draft. So obviously it's a top heavy like superstars, but it's deep draft. So that's why there's such whatever it takes sort of losses.
There's a bizarre pick protection with the Pacers in this deal they just made with Zubac with the Clippers. And I was reading about this the other day. It's protected 1 through 4 and then 10 through 30.
I just Googled it. Okay.
If it's 5 to 9, the Clippers get the pick. Now, the Pacers are probably going to be in the 4 worst records, but as we see every year, Doug, you get a couple teams that jump up and suddenly you could go from 2-6 in a heartbeat if a couple teams jump up in the lottery.
Right.
That's a very bizarre pick protection, 5 through 9.
Yeah. Well, the double protection, 1 through 4, 10 through 30. Yeah, I think that's why the Nets are 6-point favorites.
That is risky there.
I like the under here. I think it's too many points, right? Like I think the Nets, the key here is Michael Porter Jr.'s out. Okay. He's a gunner. So I just think that's something that you have to factor in here. The Nets, do they have their own pick protection? No protections or swap rights. So they're going for the home run, right? The Hail Mary. I like under 215.5. I know I think when you have scrubs playing, they're going to bust their tails on defense. And then the offensive players just aren't as good, right? Like it is what it is, right? So the shot making with Porter and insane stuff. So I'd be careful there.
Let's go now, Clippers and Rockets. Of course, this is the second night of a same city back-to-back. We talked a lot about this game yesterday. The Rockets beat them 102-95. It was a dead under also, Doug, what you said yesterday, the under in that game. And that also got there easily. Tonight, Rockets -9 and 210.5. Now, what was it yesterday, Doug? It was 7 yesterday, wasn't it? Well, what was the number yesterday in this game?
Well, 7.5, I think, at least. Just because the game landed 7, the Clippers covered, so it had to be 7.5.
And the total was 215, so that's gone down a little bit from last night, also.
Right. So it was 8.5 yesterday, 8.5 or 9, and then 212.5 was the closing number. I forget what it was in the show. And look, Rockets are 18-4 to the under in the new calendar year, so since Jan 1, and I live bet under 208.5. Last night, I lied under 212.5. Now, as soon as I bet 208.5, it shot up to 214.5 because it went on and hit a bunch of threes. But this thing was molasses, very methodical, both teams, and they played tough D. Look, the Rockets got a few dudes who can play wing defense, and I mentioned it yesterday, like Amen Thompson, Tari Eason, Kogi when he plays. So, and then Chris Dunn was all over the place. Now they missed some breakaway layups and things like that, but they also hit big shots. And I don't know if they're going to do that. I think this is a stone under as well. Clippers have Kawhi on a minutes count. He was going for buckets, but you could tell he was annoyed and frustrated by just guys in his face and his grill. So I'd play this under. I will say the Clippers pulled their starters with 5.5 to go, down 15, and they cut it to 7. But, it's random dudes scoring and things like that, although Mathurin was attacking the rack and he's not random. I would play the under. I think the Rockets, they're going to fall victim to, because this was a tight game, like first half, and then the Rockets started to pull away late third, and then the fourth got away. Kawhi's rebounding prop, I don't know what I'm going to do because he had 0 after 1. He was on a minutes count. That's part of it. He did have 5 in the second quarter. John Collins or someone stole a rebound from him off a missed free throw. I think it was John Collins. So that's factored in. I'd play it, but it's not going to be my best bet. I would play over 6.5. I think he just has to crash the board with no Zubac.
The 6.5 tonight is -103 to the over. And whereas a little bit of a different price from what we got last night with the 6.5, but still
+03 or whatever.
And the 8+ is +180. So for him to get 8 is +180 this evening, which is what he had last night.
Look at the double again. I mean, if we like the under, there's gonna be a lot of bricks. Maybe the second quarter 5 was fluky, but I think 0 in the first quarter was fluky. And he's weird. They take him out. Like he didn't play the final 2 minutes of the first half. Like I think what they do is they play him with the scrubs to start the second quarter, and he has 4 guys around him, and he's just going to shoot a bunch. And he helps him get in the bonus. So that means that when he goes to the bench, the other guys can sort of play with less defense on them because it's bonus time.
Right.
So it's interesting how they're staggering the minutes.
Yeah, +525 for the double-double for Kawhi tonight at Bet Rivers there on the screen. So Rockets and Clips back-to-back nights getting together. Your Jazz are home tonight for Sacramento. Jazz -5.5, 231.
I like them. I think, the Sacramento team's going to out-tank them. They're sitting all their starters. Not that their starters are any good, but I think Sabonis being out is key. I'm looking up the Kings pick protection right now. it's protected. Okay, second round or whatever. So there are no. They got their first round pick no matter what. I'm surprised the Sacramento front office didn't get fleeced yet for that. But yeah, everyone's sitting except DeRozan, and that includes Monk off the bench. So you're looking at a lot of DeRozan, Cardwell, Reno, Neek Clifford, Devin Carter. I mean, this lost by 25. This team's terrible. And yes, no Keontae George, but you're going to have Jaren Jackson. I think Jazz first half is a banger, especially if they sit those starters in the fourth, which has been the case. And Will Hardy's not messing around. I wonder if they're going to have to skew the first halves like they do, preseason stuff like that in the NFL, just to make it like it's so obvious. So like 2.5 in the first half is huge line value. So I would go Jazz first half minus 2.5.
Now, let me ask you this, because this is one of 3 games tonight that have this scenario. And maybe I'm looking too into some of this stuff, but, it is what it is. There's 3 teams playing tonight that still have to play tomorrow. So the focus should still be there because they're not on break yet.
It's a really good point.
Another game. So that's the Jazz. They got to play tomorrow. The Kings don't. We'll talk about the Thunder. They got to play tomorrow, and we'll talk about Portland. But this is one of these spots. Jazz, they're not necessarily looking at the Cancun break yet. The Kings are. So should we think about that in those 3 scenarios?
I think that's a really smart move. I think we discussed this. Was this NBA Cup we did this? I feel like we discussed this.
I think so.
I mean, if you look at the starting lineups, I mean, you got Nurkic, who's like getting triple doubles recently. Jaren Jackson Jr. and Markkanen are all-star caliber players. Ace Bailey's been great. Collier's going to start. Sensabaugh, Cody Williams off the bench. Kevin Love's been fine. Filipowski's in. But, I mean, who does Sacramento have besides DeRozan?
Right.
Like, they're terrible.
But and
Devin
look,
Carter.
We know that the Jazz are one of these teams that also likes to, empty the bench and sit guys. It's possible that they're going to play everybody tonight and sit everybody tomorrow. Tomorrow might be the night for the Jazz.
Yeah, I think Jazz, let's put it on the board. Jazz first half's my best bet.
There you go. Jazz first half minus 2.5 against the Kings tonight. Let's go to another one of those games.
I would make the first half like 4. Like I would skew it because what the Jazz are doing in the fourth quarters, but let's not tell the odds makers.
Right. Let's not do that. Another game in that same situation. The Thunder are in Phoenix against the Suns. Thunder do play tomorrow night against the Bucks. The Suns are done after this. OKC right now minus 8, 214.5.
I think OKC is going to be interesting because there's no SGA, there's no AJ Mitchell. I think Jalen Williams, who just came back from that wrist injury, I believe it was, he's going to go off. I think his points prop's a little too low. The Suns are interesting because that was a bounce back spot. As the game, they were up like 25 after 1. I was like, why didn't I hammer this? Suns were off back-to-back losses. They're all business. They're good off losses ATS. They have the best ATS record in the league. And the Mavs were, they're going to LA and then the All-Star weekend in LA. This is a different matchup. I think the Suns are good. Thunder, obviously, their ceiling's high, even without SGA. I would play Jalen Williams over. I think the offense is going to run through him. I think his points props too low. That's how I would play it. It's like 18.5.
18.5 for tonight with the Thunder and the Suns. The next one is the one that stuck out to me the most of these 3 games that were under this scenario, and that's Portland in Minnesota against the Timberwolves. It just screamed at me for 2 reasons. I thought Portland's got to play again tomorrow night, so they're going to be a little focused. And 2, when do the Timberwolves ever show up in these spots? Like, ever. I mean, if the Timberwolves are lazy on a regular night, you're telling me they're not going to be even more tonight, getting ready for a break? And that's 6.5 now. 2 that's probably because Ant's probably in. I know it was a little questionable earlier in the day, but I'm going to take the Blazers tonight, Doug, with this 6.5 in Minnesota.
I mean, look, the team's been calling out themselves a lot. Gobert's had some impactful words. At some point, they are who they are, right? It's the old Bill Parcells. You are who your record says you are. This is a team that did get back in the win column, dropped a $138. I still wonder about this team, though, as you said. For me, it's Blazers or pass. I just think there are better opportunities on the betting board.
Big total in that game, too. 236.5. For Portland and Minnesota tonight. That is heavy with those 2 teams this evening. All right, let's do a few more. Hornets at home for the Hawks. Hornets minus 4, 234.5 right now at Bet Rivers.
The Hawks are I mean, excuse me, the Hornets are the team, right? They finally lost. Detroit. I mean, that was going to happen. Nine game win streak loses. I think they're going to get back on track. I think their playoff futures, all those sort of like, yes, no's, division odds, all that stuff changed drastically because everyone else in the East is tanking. So they're almost by default a playoff team, kind of like the Blazers are in the West. This Hawks team's good, though. I mean, they're sort of a bet-on team. They just got drilled by Minnesota, but Minnesota was obviously the best spot to play them. I don't want to lay it with the Hornets, but I think you kind of have to, don't you? I mean, that's who they are. What suspensions did we get? Have we announced those yet?
They did announce them today.
Right. That's what I thought. So Diabite
obviously out. I saw, Stewart obviously got his time. He's always in the mix. Let's see who they have for. Yeah, Diabite got.
It's only
4 games.
So
Bridges, Diabate and Bridges both got 4
games.
Yeah, they both got 4 games.
I'm surprised.
Stewart got 7 for the Pistons. Stewart got 7.
I thought there were some offshore sites that were offering 10.5 as a prop. Again, this is Adam Silver. I mean, this is what happens. Yeah. The league is a joke. I mean, he's such a player's, commish, and it doesn't work like that. So, anyways,
I love the Hornets, but I'm probably not.
Diabate was like a big move that they changed in the, they changed the lineup and kind of found him, right?
Right.
Him being out, Bridges. I think Hornets are probably the right size, the Hawks, and I think these things coming too, right?
Probably. Any interest in laying 17 with the Cavs against the Wizards? 239. That's a big total.
Not really. Although the Cavs seem to be like a bet-on team, where they were the worst team in the ATS and until like end of January. 17 is a big number. This Wiz team, I mean, they're tanking. I'm going to look up their protection now. They're pretty awful. And they're blatantly tanking them, just shutting down AD and Trae Young. Doesn't look like they have first round protected from selections 9 through 30. All right. I didn't take care of it like I thought they would. They did the other stuff. I don't know. 17 is too big of a number, but so it's top 8 protected. Yeah, it's top 8 protected. So the Wizards have to, they have to not mess around here.
Mm-hmm. My apologies to the Bucks, Doug. I didn't put them in that pool of teams that are playing also tomorrow night. That's probably because I never have any interest in betting the Bucks. But they are playing tomorrow night also. They're catching 11 in Orlando tonight, 220.5.
Well, we just saw Orlando win big, right? They're capable of it, I guess. It's just not something you want to make a habit of. They beat the same Bucks by a lot. I mean, the funny thing is they're trying to win and they're barely over 500, and the Bucks are terrible and shorthanded and signing Cam Thomas off the scrap heap. It's a little bit too big of a number. I don't trust this Orlando team yet.
I wouldn't either. I definitely don't trust this Orlando team. Pistons and Raptors tonight. Pistons short favorite on the road. Actually, now a pick 'em, 223.5. There's a good game this evening.
Well, no beef stew, right?
Yeah.
He's kind of big for them. Duran suspended as well. And no Jalen Duran, right?
Yeah.
So, and the Raptors, yeah. I mean, who's starting center? I believe we got a Paul Reed sighting.
Always looking for
so
Paul.
We get some props on that.
Paul some burn this evening.
He'll shoot. He's not afraid to shoot. There could be like us against the world motivation as well. Paul Reed rebounds. 9.5 is his prop at Bet Rivers.
Wow.
It's probably that's a good number. He's going to crash the boards and play a lot. Maybe his alt line. You can get plus 110 on the double-double. Well, he may not even get the points, to be honest.
Can't trust him to score.
I think like Pistons first quarter kind of thing would be smart.
Pistons first quarter this evening. Good one. Pistons and Raps.
It's plus 180 to get a double-double, but plus 110 for 10 rebounds. You don't see that very often.
Yeah, that's pretty close.
An extra 70 cents for a guy just to get 10 points.
Bulls catching 13 in Boston, 226.5. Oof.
Yeah. I don't know.
Just some big numbers for a couple getaway.
I mean, this is like torture, right? Because you got all the moving parts of the final week before the All-Star break. You got all the tanking stuff. You got all the recent trades, the pick protection. So this is so they hold a pick from the Blazers. It's top 14 protected, but that's not, that's an incoming pick. They have their own. I don't know. I would take the points, but
yeah, I would take the points too. This could be a sleepy game.
Celtics are limited scoring.
Who's Miami missing tonight that they're catching 1.5 in New Orleans against the Pelicans? Or am I just not looking at that? That doesn't seem right to me. Pelicans minus 1.5 and 2 now against the Heat, 231.5.
Well, I mean, Miami's sitting Tyler Hero, Norm Powell.
Yeah,
Wiggins is doubtful. So you got Bam and Davion Mitchell and Jaquez.
No thanks. I mean, they should.
Remember, the Pelicans don't have their pick. That's the big one for the guy from Maryland, right? So that goes to the Hawks.
That goes for Queen. Yep.
Yeah, Derek Queen
lost that. Yeah, I don't have any interest in Heat Pelicans tonight. Zero.
No, can't interest you in that one.
I can't get in on that game. I just can't. And the last one I got for you in a huge 14-game slate are the Grizzlies in Denver against the Nuggets with a big number, 13.5, 238.5.
Memphis is not good.
It's a big total.
Yeah, I think we got to go back to send it in Jerome, don't we?
Send it in Jerome. What's he got tonight? What are they giving us tonight with him?
Yeah, right. They went up to 19 the other day, and then he laid an egg.
It's up there. That's 15.
And then he hit over 20 when it was back to 13.5. So Jerome, I think he's going to eat tonight too. Oh, he's not on the board, huh? Oh, there he is.
I am.
Looks like 15 plus is minus 167. So 16.5 is even money.
Okay.
It's probably the right number. 15.5 is heavily juiced.
And Cam's 10.5. I saw somebody in the chat box bring up Cam. Spencer's 10.5 tonight. He didn't get a lot of burn the other night, Doug. He didn't get in the game much. His minutes were
I think they're like, all right, we kind of know what we have. Let's find out what we know elsewhere. Or let's find out what we have elsewhere.
There wasn't a lot of burn. I was looking at the box. Hey, can they put Cam in? Let's let him play a little bit. There you go. Big night for an NBA fan. 14 games. Last big night before the All-Star break. Tomorrow you only get 3. So get it in tonight for us here. And don't forget, BetRivers has you covered with an NBA Wednesday primetime second chance SGP. Log into your BetRivers app or your BetRivers.com account each Wednesday to receive a second chance same-game parlay token to use on either of the primetime NBA games that day. If your wager doesn't hit, of course, you get the the bet back. See BetRivers app or website for full details. NBA Wednesday primetime second chance SGP. All right, college hoops. We're on to now. Plenty more ranked games here this evening. Really quick, off of last night, Doug, great. That Purdue-Nebraska game was awesome. We obviously already talked about Miami and North Carolina. Duke was just missed covering that big number. Nice effort by LSU against
Bucket in the last possession. Bucket in the last
possession for that. And I know you were locked in on Air Force again last night in the Mountain West. You had it all.
Air Force did not cover by a hook. Got a little hairy. By the way, both teams with their benches in step back threes, 3 in a row. Air Force hit back-to-back step back threes because the margin got to 20 with about 2 minutes to go.
Wow.
And they still, cut it underneath the number at one point.
I did watch the first half of the UNLV game. Man, that was bombs away. They had 80 plus points in the first half with San Jose State and UNLV last night. Let's get to this evening, and we'll start with Florida and Georgia. tonight. This game is just after 7 o'clock East, ESPN2, Florida minus 9.5, 165.5 the total.
All right, Georgia owes me because I bet on them a couple times. They're one of the dumbest teams I've ever seen, and I'm done with them. I think Florida should pound them. This Georgia team wants to run. I mean, their totals are really high. It's understandable, but they stink. They play reckless, and they cannot rebound at all. Florida has all that size. I don't understand how this thing is under single digits. I just don't. I can't believe the Bulldogs have won as many games as they have. Now, they just won at LSU, whip-de-doo. They'd lost the 3 previous. We really missed opportunities to bet against them. I'm so mad at myself. I remember this is a team that was up 3 and scored a layup with down 3 and scored a layup with 0.4 seconds to go. Had the ball for the final 20 seconds. And throughout the game, I'm texting Massero saying, this is the dumbest team I've ever watched. And then they do more stupid stuff. And then the point guard, so it's not like it's a random guy. It's the point guard who should look at the clock, see where, have court awareness. He drives and lays it in with 0.4 on the clock. Down 3.
Amazing.
So I'm going to take Florida here. I don't know if it's the best spot, best whatever, but I think Georgia's just wastes possessions. In the tournament, they say every possession matters. It's like life or death. You can't waste a single. But Georgia's the polar opposite. They just chuck and duck. And if they hit their threes, so be it. But Florida should be able to score at will, especially in the paint.
ACC just after 7 o'clock as well. Virginia Tech visiting Clemson tonight. Clemson minus 7.5, 135.5.
I don't have a great read on this game. Maybe it's sort of a, they lay an egg. I like this Clemson team. Let me start it with that. So maybe they just get back from the road trip. I was thinking Clemson, but maybe this is actually the worst spot for them because they just get a couple wins on the road. They had a little bit of a grinder at Stanford before the Cal kind of beat down. And then they have Duke on deck at Cameron on Saturday. So this is a sleepy spot. It's a big number. So maybe this is one of those kind of rock fight, sluggish performances. I wish I was getting like 19.5 from like one of the worst teams in the ACC. Like that's what I really would want. Like Pitt, or Notre Dame. But Virginia Tech's, this game could be tied at half. So I would say Tech first half.
Okay. Tech first half, big number there, 7.5 for Clemson tonight. Low total too, 135.5 for the Hokies and the Tigers this evening. Big East, first time we've seen UConn since that loss to St. John's last Friday night at the Garden. They're at Butler tonight at the Fieldhouse, 11.5 point road favorite. This is on TNT just after 7:30 East, 144.5 the total.
Team is on the floor. They're going to Hinkle here with Hoosiers. I think they're going to destroy the Bulldogs. I feel bad that Butler has to play UConn off that game. I think Danny Hurley's ready to rip someone a new one, and Butler just ain't that good. This is not Brad Stevens and Gordon Hayward aren't walking through that door. I think UConn rolls them.
UConn rolling tonight. 11.5 does seem a little. I know they're on the road, but it seems a little light, Doug, to be honest.
Yeah. I mean, they beat them by 20 at home or 18 or something 19, like that. I just
19 they beat them at home.
This Butler team they're just not that good.
They're not. They are not. How about Big 12 now? Let's go Cincinnati and Kansas State. This is just after 9 o'clock East, CBS Sports Network. Cincinnati, 2.5 point road favorite in the Little Apple. Manhattan, 148.5 the total.
Yeah, this Cincy team is nothing special, but I'll tell you what, this K-State team is pretty special. They're really bad. They have one win, and that was at home to Utah, who's also really bad. So those two teams are each 1-9 or 1-10. So and they've been getting smoked. Now, K-State did go to TCU and lose by 2, but TCU had Houston on deck, at BYU, whatever it was, on deck. Iowa State, excuse me. This is a mismatch. I think Cincy wins by like 8-13.
Yeah, Kansas State's awful. I mean, they are just absolutely
brutal. Yeah, the Bearcats can't mess around. You need wins,
Yeah, they certainly do. Early start just after 6 o'clock East in College Park for Iowa and Maryland. 10.5 for the Hawkeyes here on the road, 139.5.
All right, so first things first, give Maryland some credit. They won at Minnesota on Super Bowl Sunday, but Super Bowl Sunday is a sneaky sort of weird game day. You know, the dogs bark, things like that, because teams are worried about their Super Bowl parties and stuff like that. Sounds stupid, but they are. Give Maryland credit, but that Minnesota team's okay offensively. I think Iowa's going to name their score. They beat them by about 20 at home. You're paying a big number. There's a little bit of a tax, but this Maryland team gets destroyed by most teams. Their defense is so bad. The worst unit probably in the entire conference. I think Ben McCollum of Iowa's sort of figured things out back half of the season. The offense is clicking. I don't think that win unlocks a bunch of stuff. I think they relax a little bit. I think Hawkeyes roll them.
Hawkeyes rolling. And since I have the Big Ten page open, I did want to bring this one up with you because I was going to later, but I'll do it now. USC at Ohio State tonight, just after 6:30 Big Ten Network. We've talked a lot about USC in these games when they go to the East Coast, them and UCLA. They did not cover the game against Penn State early Super Bowl Sunday. I know you had mentioned that on Friday, and they barely escaped with the win.
We got there with Penn State in the 9 a.m. game.
Got there at Penn State, and now here we are. They're in Columbus against Ohio State. It's a pretty big number, 7.5 for them. Is that a little too much for the Buckeyes?
I don't know. Massaro got me thinking about the Buckeyes. I would not have picked it out. I would have thought that the number and the tax is too high. I think it's a tough spot, pretty high. I'm not in a rush to bet them. I wouldn't grab the points. I think this Trojans team's pretty stupid, and they got some nice players, Arenas and everything. Although Ron Artest, Meta World Peace, thinks Arenas will be a league MVP like Kobe in 5 years in the NBA. Let's just make sure he gets to the NBA, first of all. The look on your face was like, what? I'd lay it. I think Thornton can have his way. But either way, I'm not in a rush to bet. I think, like you said, it's a little high for my liking.
It is a little much. Like, I know USC's, in the Eastern time zone hasn't been great, but they've been there a couple days. It's the second game. I don't know if I want to lay 7.5 with the Buckeyes.
I think there's a lot better bets on the board.
Yes, I like the way you put that. Michigan at Northwestern. Number 2 Michigan, 22-1, visiting the Wildcats. 15.5, 153.5 the total.
I think they might double this point spread. Michigan has kind of been on a roll, and Northwestern has not. And this is a mismatch. So I think Wolverines, I know they hosted Penn State a week ago and beat them by 40. I don't see how this can't be a similar game. This number feels cheap. The Purple Cats had a nice run here and there. They hung on Sunday to beat or to cover against Iowa, but that was like Super Bowl Sunday. I think they're about to get destroyed. So Michigan took care of business, won by 20 in Columbus. I think they handled their business here. Now, I know the road was a bugaboo for this Wolverine squad, but I think the number's a little soft here.
Drop the hammer with the Wolverines tonight.
Don't be afraid to.
At Northwestern. And hey, since you remember the Big Ten, they got late night games now too. We always talk about late night in the Mountain West. How about late night in the Big Ten? As Penn State makes the long trip up to Seattle to see Washington. Minus 12.5 for the Huskies. 154.5 the total.
Yeah, this was going to be my best bet. I think the Huskies get right. Well, first of all, it's a team that's been outperforming the market. They're 4-1 ATS in their 5-1 in their last 6, 8-2 ATS in their last 10. But these are different sort of game scripts, right? They're big numbers, backdooring. Now, they got lucky against Nebraska, I want to say. They shouldn't have covered that game. But either way, they're catching points, take care of business, stuff like that. This is different. They got to cover 12.5, but it's a horrendous shot for Penn State. Penn State blew it. They were up double digits at home on Sunday, lost the game outright. Now they got to fly all the way across the country. Late tip, 10:30. I thought it was 10. So, wow, that's really late. And they're facing a Washington team that's off back-to-back outright losses. That's the key for me. Huskies want this game. They got to get back on track. So I'm all in on Washington here. I think this is a blowout.
Huskies, another hammer play. Another drop the hammer.
Yeah,
with the Huskies late.
I don't know
Let's go.
What the money line parlay is of all those Big Ten double-digit favorites, but that would be worth. You probably need Ohio State in there to make it pay anything. But I don't see how those three lose. Right? Iowa, Michigan, obviously, and then Washington. It's probably like minus 200.
Yeah, right around there. We'll see. Maybe I'll put that together real fast.
Probably a good bet. I'll do it while you're talking.
Late
if I can
night.
find it.
Late night in the Mountain West. We love the Mountain West in the late night action here. Let's only one game tonight, and it's a good one. New Mexico visiting Grand Canyon. Grand Canyon minus 1.5, 148.5 is the total. Now, didn't they play? New Mexico crushed them at their place, 87-64. Yeah, minus 1.5 for the Lopes here tonight. I like GCU, Doug. It might be my best bet. I like GCU a lot tonight.
I really like it too. Now New Mexico, GCU is off that loss at UNLV, which is crazy. You were mentioning it yesterday. They bust a bunch of people down and all that. I think it's the revenge angle that you mentioned, but also I'm sick of losing on this damn New Mexico team. Something's wrong. The market's been pounding them. They've been laying eggs. I mean, they lost by 20 at home to Utah State, I want to say. So I don't know, man. I have to take GCU. I think this could be a banger spot. I want my money back.
Well, let's go. I think that I'll be bringing it up again in a few minutes once we get to the end of the show, because that's kind of the one that I've had my eye on all day. And the other one, and there, look at that, Iowa, Michigan, Washington, minus 278. Minus 278.
So if you add the Buckeyes, it's a $1.30.
I'm just gonna say it. I don't trust Ohio State.
Right,
that would be the team
okay.
I would trust.
Okay,
yeah.
So do you trust Michigan to win the game?
Yes, absolutely. I trust the other three. I trust.
Okay, well then you're taking an Ohio State money line down to $1.30.
That's very true. Very true. That's a good way to maybe look at it.
I mean, that's why they play the games, though.
That is why they play the games.
It's 4 legs. I guess Hawkeyes would be a little trepidatious, right?
What about Clemson? You want to put Clemson instead of Clemson? No. Ooh, no.
Big Ten.
No.
Big Ten. You got anything tomorrow?
You gotta have
No, you got a Friday game. Is all that's left.
I got
NBA?
one. You can throw some NBA. But USA and Canada tomorrow with the hockey, those minus 7,000 money lines. You want to throw those in there?
$1.30 is all you can ask for. I mean, that's pretty good. This USC team's a bunch of knuckleheads.
That is. You're right. At home, I know 7.5 is scary, but them winning the game, you should be all right. I'm going to throw you one more for college tonight. And look, DePaul, I know I've gone down the road a couple times. At home, they've been good in conference, except when they play a heavy. When they play UConn or St. John's, they obviously get smashed. But against these other Midland teams in the Big East, they've won all these games. Minus 1.5 at home tonight. Creighton's not great. Can we get on the DePaul train this evening?
Looked at it. I mean, Creighton got smoked by Marquette, right?
Yeah.
On the road, of course. Marquette's turned things around. I don't know if DePaul's quite turned things around to the same degree, but I don't want to lay it with. I don't want to take Creighton on the road.
Look, they've beaten Seton Hall, Marquette, Georgetown, Xavier, all these teams at home. They've beaten all these teams at home so far this year in conference. Creighton's in that same pot as all those other teams, as far as I'm concerned. So I kind of like, I actually see it flipped in a couple plays. I see Creighton minus 1.5 in a couple spots too. But
I guess my question for you is there an edge here with DePaul? Like in a pick'em league, we're taking DePaul.
Right.
But is there an edge to step up to the counter and fire?
Probably not.
FOMO weighing heavily here?
Probably not. I don't think there's an edge. I think the only thing I'd be leaning on is that all these other mediocre Big East teams at home, they've beaten them. That's the only thing that I'm kind of laying my hat on with DePaul for that game tonight. That's it. Nothing else. I could go there. What's up, fellas? Any thoughts on Iowa women's hoops versus Washington tonight? Iowa minus 7.5. I saw earlier. Iowa women's hoops tonight against Washington. Usually Thursday's the big women's hoops night, right, Doug? Usually that's when we get a lot of bangers in women's hoops.
I got a play for you in the women's. I kind of forgot about it. My guy.
Oh,
surfaced.
Boy.
So let's talk about Iowa first. I got no opinion on that game. I think Iowa, a little bit of fool's gold at times. I don't have a firm opinion.
Okay.
The game I have is UCF plus the points.
Ooh, at West Virginia tonight, huh?
24.5 is a big number. Big number, I'm told.
It is a big number, 24.5 for UCF, who's 10-13, not having a big year, but at West Virginia tonight. A lot of sticks there, 24.5. It's a lot of lumber for it. But
total.
Whenever you get this is a text for you. You got the text, so you have to respect that. If you're a regular watcher of Betting Weekly Live, respect when we get the text. And Doug got one there for UCF, 24.5 against West Virginia, just after 7 o'clock East. Texas Tech catching 2 tutties versus Colorado. This should be a beatdown. Red Raiders by 20, I think. I don't have much faith in Colorado, Doug. I really don't.
It's funny. I actually looked at the dog. I'm kind of off this Red Raiders team.
Okay.
Maybe they got to win me over. Maybe this is the game to do it. It's a lot of points for a team that has proven it can get kind of stuck in the mud a little offensively, a little too often.
Okay. There you go for us this evening. Providence plus 5 at Seton Hall, or is that a dead dog? Dead dog
Providence
tonight?
Stinks. No part. I never want to bet on Providence.
They're pretty bad. You're not going to lie. They're pretty bad for Providence, that's for sure. There you go. College hoops for this evening on a Wednesday night. Don't forget, what is it? It's February at Bet Rivers, and Bet Rivers has a February fun bet for you. Tennis, soccer, basketball, whatever sport you're following right now, bet on it with a February fun bet. Betting Weekly and Bet Rivers have teamed up to give you a $10 bonus bet when you enter the bonus code BW201. That code again, BW201. Offer expires February 15th. Must be 21. Eligible players only. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. February fun bet for us here. All right. Hockey. So we talked a lot big picture yesterday, Doug, about the men's side of things getting started, which it did today. Sweden up 3-2 at the end of 2. So Italy's now
live line now
28-1.
Okay.
For Italy.
28-1
with 20 minutes left. And the puck lines, they're getting 3 at -113. Down 1. So
Sweden has to outscore them by 3 to win, to cover.
Yep. Yes, they do. And I think this is going to bring me to a point when we talk about these games tomorrow. We have now seen today Slovakia beat Finland outright. Finland's a team full of NHL players. We are seeing Sweden, a team full of NHL players, kind of getting off to a slow start here against Italy. They're going to win this game, but it's a slow start. USA and Canada start tomorrow. I'm starting to get the general feel here, whereas I think these teams, Doug, will get better as they play more games, but they don't normally play with each other. All these basically all-star teams that are getting thrown together. Should we factor that in with some slower starts for these teams?
I would say so. This is like the NBA playoffs. Teams are playing like it's a marathon for a lot of these top seeds. So these underdogs, come out swinging. So I kind of like where your angle's going with this. I think there's some logic to this for sure.
Now, look, Canada's playing Czech Republic tomorrow. Czech Republic's got a lot of NHL guys too. That's not exact. They're not as obviously stacked as Canada is going to be, but they got guys. They've got Pasternak and they've got Nashis and they've got they're only a goal and a half is plus 170 for Czech Republic and they're plus 440 outright. Canada's going to win, but USA Latvia is maybe one where we look a little bit more, especially since USA's coming into this game. They don't have necessarily the same firepower as Canada does. Still, obviously, stars up and down the lineup. I'm not saying Latvia with this 15-1 outright, but what's
first period action?
I was even going to think, what do I got for the puck line here? So Latvia plus 4 is -109.
US can cover that in the period.
It's again, I'm basing this off of just what we're seeing.
Looking at
today.
First period.
First period. Let's see because look, you're right, because Sweden might come out and score 4 goals in the third and win this game 7-2. 7-2, and no one even remembers that Italy, was hanging around for 2 periods. First period.
So period 1, you got a +1 is plus money. +1.5 is -175.
Yeah.
Uh,
I was hoping 2 would have been a good number.
What about
maybe.
Latvia team total over a half? +170.
Well, Italy scored first in this game. I think Slovakia scored first in the other game. The dog has come out and scored early. That might be the only angle, Doug, because it's such a big number. I mean, it's so
Both
huge.
teams to score +225.
Let's think about that for a second. If you're going to play them at 170 to score, they're not going to shut the U.S. out in the first period, right? I mean, I'd rather play both teams to score in the first than play just Latvia to score in the first, because USA is going to score.
I got one for you too as well. 1-1 exact score.
750.
+750.
750.
Let's say Latvia scores first.
Okay.
What's the next goal lifeline on U.S. scoring? It's like -400.
I mean, it might be more, but yeah. I would say it's probably right about that. I like both teams to score in the first.
Then, hold on, there's live weight. If you're sitting on 1-1 +750, and it's late enough in the period, you can bet over 2.5 for the period -180 or something like that.
Okay.
See, that's how you sort of build portfolios and live trade. If you're sitting on a middle of something, right? Like in a football, I mean, football's key because basketball, obviously, it's rapid fire scoring. And so hockey and football, if you're sitting in a middle or you're sitting on a prop and there's not a ton of time left, you can bet over. They'll put up whatever the current score is. Let's say it's 30-10 in the fourth quarter. They'll put up 40.5 over, minus, or plus whatever. And that's how you hedge out of your bets. You hedge that there will be another score, So if you're sitting on 1-1 +750 and there's like 6 minutes to go, you can get over 2.5, played for like a 30-year bet or something.
I was just going to say
it's a lot of zig and zag. I'm just saying.
Right. Because now I'm running through my head.
I like your +225.
I think that's a nice way. Like I'm looking at the other way, like correct scores of the period, like maybe as to play, 2-1.
2-1 US 900.
2-1.
2-1 Latvia 30-1.
Now that's a big number.
You don't even need pizza money. You need arcade money on this.
This is put a throw quarter in the machine, and there you go.
Subway money.
Subway, yeah. Well, in New York, say $5, so I'll put $5 Subway.
Is that what it is now?
Well, no, it's like $2.75, but like a round trip Subway trip, or something like that. I like both teams to score in the first period in this U.S. game. I think, especially because I think we're thinking the right thing, Doug, but the numbers aren't there.
Right. What's the execution of this slow start? I agree with you. +1.5, -175, because the U.S. could obviously just 2-0, right?
I know.
How good is Latvia? I mean, we should probably. I just keep thinking of George Costanza converting to Latvian Orthodox the whole time.
They have a couple of NHL players, but nowhere near. They don't have as good a talent as Czech. They don't have as good a talent as Swiss. They don't have as good a talent as Germany, I don't think, either. So they're kind of a little bit further down the line. They've got Merzlikins, the goalie from Columbus. They got, they got Silivos, stands on his head. USA might have problems covering that line if they give up a goal.
There's always a way to lose.
There always is. What's the Latvia team total full game?
Oh, I like that thought process.
Latvia team total full game is, and obviously I'm looking at this in regular time because they're not going to be in overtime. Over 1.5 at +140. One flat is -167.
Score.
I'm sticking with just the plus 225 to both score in the first period. I'm not getting involved in any of this other stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, that's where I think I want to go is with that market. And you know what, with the Canada game too, like I think that Czech, I'd like a little bit more. If it was 2.5, I might bite, but at 1.5, I don't think I can. I might have bit with 2.5 with the Czech Republic, but not 1.5. Canada should score a couple goals tomorrow. They have them for both to score in the first period. Now, the one part of Canada's game that is suspect, if there's any, is their goaltending.
Okay.
That's the only part of Canada's game. Both teams to score in the first Canada-Czech is 180. That ain't bad either. Czech's got guys who could score. They got firepower with Pasternak and the crew. So, what's Pasternak to score tomorrow? Might play that. Plus 220 anytime goal for Pasternak. That's kind of where I would look in that other game. We got some things here. We're thinking through it, Doug. Trying to piece some things through.
This is important. Like, you take whatever you think is going to happen. You really want to isolate it. We talk about team totals, right? Like, I was talking about Florida. Like, do I worry about Georgia making a bunch of threes? Fine. Take Georgia's team total over because they're going to be able to score on this Georgia defense pretty easily. Right.
Yeah. I think both of these games, both teams to score in the first is a nice bet to have some little fun early in the game. And you're in. And I think I am going to play Pasternak at plus 220 to score for Czech. He's their firepower. This is going to be like Draisaitl with Germany. He's got to be the guy who drives the train, drives the bus. I'll play Pasternak against Canada tomorrow for that. Hockey. It's here, and it's great. Of course, Betting Weekly Live here, part of the Betting Weekly Studios, Bet Rivers Network. And if you like what you see, subscribe to the Betting Weekly Studios channel on YouTube, where you can catch us and all of our other shows, including Betting Weekly, Game Bet Match. Join Nigel Seeley and Sean Calvert as they share more best bets and angles for ATP Rotterdam and ATP Dallas. So check out Betting Weekly Game Bet Match with Nigel and Sean on the Betting Weekly Studios channel. We do have golf teeing off tomorrow, Doug. Of course, the Pebble Beach Pro-Am, first signature event of the season. So only 80 golfers. You got to be in their exclusive club, of course, to make these signature events. And it's the first time we're seeing a few guys. This is Rory's first tournament this year on the PGA Tour. It's Tommy Fleetwood's first time out. Shane Lowry's first time out. So a lot of guys, this is the first time we are seeing them. I don't really like a lot of the top of the board, but I'm kind of talking myself into Rory a little bit because at Bet Rivers, I have a 25% boost. I can get him up to like almost 18. And I know some states have those enhanced odds where you get him a little higher too. I think Rory's should be a little lower. I think that this number, Doug, is more. He hasn't played yet this year. He played 2 DP World Tour events at the beginning of January. It's not like he hasn't picked up a club in 6 months. He should probably. He should be
not
more
like me in the winter out here.
He should honestly, in this field, he should be more like 9 or 10, especially as the defending champion. So I think if you have a boost or enhanced odds with Bet Rivers in one of these states, I would maybe bump Rory up and play him and get him up around that 17, 18 area. So I'm going to play Rory in that aspect. Bobby McIntyre, Bobby Mack at 35 to 1. I like playing him on coastal courses like this. This is a nice spot for him at Pebble Beach. 35, a good number. And my bomb this week for us, Doug, will be Alex Noren. Kind of the same feeling. He's a good coastal course player, and he hasn't had the best start to the year. He shouldn't be 100. He should maybe in this field be 60 or 70. So 100 for Alex Noren. I'm going to take a shot with him as the bomb.
Like that. I feel like I've bet him over the years based on recommendations and stuff like that. Yeah. So I'm assuming no Goddard up this week.
I am not going to.
You wouldn't go against him again, right?
Now look, Goddard has already gotten me home once this year, so I cannot be upset with the guy. I thought about him and should have played him last week. I'm not thinking about him. He got to be a little hungover this week too, Doug. I mean, winning twice in a month. I mean, Henley's not bad either, DeFars. This is a nice course for Russell Henley. But he's just not a guy that I usually play. Rory top 10 plus 120. That's a great bet too, John. Rory top 10 is a nice bet this week.
Let me ask you about that. Those Rory. So he's not like a feast or famine guy. Like he can battle. I mean, Scheffler finished third after that ridiculous
Yes.
opening round. So you think Rory can hang around? Even he's
Yeah.
not a guy that's going to take his ball and go home, right?
I don't believe so, especially when you consider there's only 80 guys this week. So there's no, this. Rory's going to come out and play. This is a great course for his fit. He won here last year. He's going to battle. That's why I like him for that top 10 also. He's going to be in the mix here. It's the first time out. I think people have got to get that little taste of Rory for the first time. Scheffler's already won this year, and he came storming back last week to finish third. Rory, I think, has a little purpose this week as well. So I think it's not. Now, the difference between Rory and Scotty for me, Doug, like you say, if there's a week in a full field event where Rory on Saturdays in like the 30s or 40s, he could shut it down. As you saw with Scotty this past weekend, he never shuts it down. He's got that streak now, 17 straight top 10s. So he's going to keep on pushing. That's probably the one little difference I'd say between the two for those guys. Pebble Beach. I wish we could play it this weekend, Doug. I'd rather go play Pebble Beach myself than go watch these guys. Have you played Pebble?
I played once in December. I got to get out there soon. I was at a Super Bowl party. I was doing a show and I was fine, but one of the guys was pretty drunk. He scheduled a 27-hole match, some scratch golfer and I versus another scratch golfer and another hack like myself. A pretty hefty price tag for next Saturday. We'll see if I've laid low. I hope he doesn't remember. So I really don't feel like playing stakes that high for 27 hole. But I do have the better partner. I will say that.
Well,
he's a legit match, and the other guy's like a 4.
Ooh, that's a good. At least you got the better partner. You always want to have that in a situation like that. All right, it is time. The best bets in the Daily Double, which has been on a run. 6 of the last 7. Of course, the first couple days this week. Last night we hit with Miami and Leonard over the 6.5 boards. We both have kind of dropped the breadcrumbs already here today on the show of what we're going to go to. I love the Lopes late night. Grand Canyon at home against New Mexico. Short favorite here, -1.5. Lobos crushed them when they played them last month at their place. Like this Grand Canyon team a lot. Give me them -1.5 tonight, Doug.
Throwing it out there. Do you want to do money line at all? Because we have this parlay thing where we got a little juice to play with.
You know what? Yeah. Money line. Change it up. I'm
Okay.
sorry, Max. Max. I'll change it. I'll try to get it in there, Max, and get you the new number.
I'll talk slowly, Max.
You talk slowly, and I'll get the new number in.
And I'm not going to take my own advice because I'm going to lay 2.5 on the first half with the Jazz. That money line gets pretty hefty, though, when you think about it. Also, it's a 2-way money line, so we don't like that because there's one time we push something. Anyways, I like the Jazz here. Look, their starting lineup. If they're starting Nurkic, Jaren Jackson, and Markkanen, there's going to be no rebounds to be had for the Sacramento Kings, even with Carswell out there. Sacramento's sitting 4 of their 5 starters, 5 of their 6 best players. It's going to be DeRozan and the Pips in this game. So I think this should be an absolute beatdown. And we know Utah sits everyone fourth quarter, so. All this criticism of the Jazz, maybe Adam Silver picked up the phone the last couple days. I think Utah drops a hammer here. I think they're so much better. I know no Keontae George, but I think the talent gap is so wide here. Kings, I mean, remember, they just got blown out in their last game, altitude. I think this line should be like 6. I mean, I really do. This is going to be, I think, destruction.
Well, there you go. Jazz first half, -2.5 at home. Grand Canyon money line against New Mexico. We save ourselves in case they win by 1. +239 this evening. The Daily Double. Best bets on Betting Weekly Live. Let's keep it rolling. Doug, tremendous job. As always, we are back tomorrow, 4 p.m. East, 1 p.m. Pacific. Here, Betting Weekly Studios, of course, Bet Rivers Network. We have got the last NBA games before the break. Couple games, just 3 games tomorrow night. And then I can't wait for Friday's show where Doug breaks down the NBA All-Star festivities this weekend. It is going to be outstanding as we will play a game here on Betting Weekly Live. I'm going to give Doug some names and he's going to guess a participant in the dunk contest or a guy that I had a beer with at the bar last night. So we're going to play that game with Doug on Friday.
You could do also, the NBA is trying to solve its problem. They hired like influencers or whatever, TikTokers.
Are they in the dunk contest?
So TikTokers are going to go around and all weekend and cross promote or whatever. But it's such a stupid angle because influencers put themselves on camera,
I know.
which is not what you want. You want the material being on camera. So it's a really dumb move, I think. And there's really no crossover. Like people aren't going to be like, oh my God, I got to see this guy. I'm going to watch him because he filmed LeBron on the sideline. I'm going to turn on the game on my TV. Like, I don't know.
Can't wait.
But yeah, it's going to be a nice break. Maybe I'll golf this weekend.
There you go.
Or just bet more heavily in women's ice hockey in the Olympics and college basketball.
I would love to golf this weekend if there wasn't still snow outside of my house. So no, I unfortunately will not be golfing this weekend. All right, Doug, great job. We will see you back here tomorrow. Betting Weekly Live, 4 p.m. East, 1 p.m. Pacific. Have a great night. Enjoy the game.